Not a problem. Thank you, thank you. I hope it's good. I hope the topic's good. Okay. I hope so. You too, man. Hey, Dane Tiger. Okay. I may be soloing this one. I don't know. Not. I'm going to save it for tonight. Um, that's okay. It may be just you and me. Oh, Ross Lynch. I didn't see you sneak in. Bye, Dane Tiger. I gotta find my notes because I was lazy and didn't exit out of live yesterday. We have two really cool topics for today. I'm excited for them, even if you are not. Because today's topic is right up my alley. Literally. I have legit had both of the animals that we're talking about today as pets. So you're getting firsthand experience from somebody who's had these animals and raised them up. Mainly, I do love tarantulas. I've grown to love tarantulas. So I'm going to be using my friend here to to talk about this because she's the biggest one I have. Not the best looking one I have because she's like a real tarantula. She lost a foot. So we're going to start off with the Oklahoma brown tarantula and then we'll move to the other one. So these are both one of 30 different species of tarantula in the United States and one of 800 that are found they're one of 800 that are found worldwide. And that number may be bigger than 800. Golly. Oh my goodness. The Oklahoma brown is the most eastern and the most northern, I think, of our tarantulas. They can be found in Oklahoma, Texas, parts of Mexico, Louisiana, Arkansas. and even up into Missouri. Now, this is not a colorful tarantula. They don't have the oranges that this particular spider has. They're basically going to be brown. Brown and maybe some black intermixed. It is when you consider that most of them are found like within the Great Basin, within the Rocky Mountains, or I should say the Rocky Mountain states and west of the Rockies. Not a lot of them are found I lost my train of thought. They're not just found, I don't know how to phrase it. Most of our tarantulas are west of the Rockies. This one is not only east of the Mississippi. Is it east of the Mississippi? I think I'm wrong. I think my geography is messed up. I think it's west of the Mississippi. Golly, I can't remember geography. Okay, so west of the Mississippi. I'm not saying that they're eastern states necessarily, but compared with most of the other species, it's an eastern tarantula. It's west of the Rockies. Or east of the Rockies. Man, am I not doing good today. But anyway, if you know nothing about tarantulas or you're afraid of them, I got news for you. These guys are literally more afraid of you than you are maybe of them. They can't really. Okay, you're just going to learn about spiders today. Tarantulas, to be exact. We're going to get to that, Ross Lynch. We're going to get to that. They do not really spin webs to capture prey. Webbing is used for other purposes. It is a toy, Weston. It is a toy. But more importantly, it's a prop. Give me a second, guys. Why? Hi, puppies for life. So anyway, um, so these guys, they're not going to use your, oh, um, it is pretty amazing when people come into live and they comment on my age, because yeah, I know. I know I'm old. Do I need somebody to tell me that I'm old? Probably not. I don't comment on your age. In fact, I don't know your age. So why comment on mine? I don't get it. But anyway, I digress. These guys are nocturnal. They're going to come up and they're going to hunt for prey. And it's mainly insects, but they may take other things as well. They might take small lizards. They might take other arthropods, such as other spiders, stuff like that. This is a fairly docile creature, and it's pretty typical for at least New World tarantulas to kick hairs. And you don't want to get their hairs into your eyes. Because it can, at least temporarily, perhaps cause some issues. Apart from that, yes, they will take their back legs and kick hairs at you. And I can tell you, it itches. It's like not quite like fiberglass, but it itches. If that doesn't work and you don't go away, the next option they have is to rear up. And what that looks like, oh gosh darn it. Wouldn't you know it, I don't have. So what that looks like is they will rear up on their back legs, using their two back legs as support. They will rear up and they will display their fangs. They're going to spread their fangs out like this, as if they are getting ready to strike. They are trying to scare you. They want you gone. Their venom, they are venomous. The big issue is, does their venom hurt humans? Probably not. It's probably not going to be life-threatening in most cases. However, there is always the possibility, and I want to make sure I'm correct. Of course, when I look something up, they can, but most of the ones we have, probably not. So I can't confirm it, but I read somewhere that if you're allergic to bees and wasps, that you can perhaps be allergic to tarantula venom. Just something to keep in mind. Not all tarantulas jump. Most of your big ones probably are not going to be doing much jumping. The ones that are going to be doing the jumping are spiders, smaller tarantulas, your pink toes. And it's important to note, while I say that you could be allergic to spider venom, that doesn't mean that you are. It means that you could be. When it comes to lifespan, these guys can live for 30 years. And when I say these guys, I don't mean the males. Hi, how are you? Namakula Yash? Did I say that right? I hope. Females can live for 30 years. Males usually don't. Males are usually going to last a year. And then they're going to go away. Not go away, but they're going to die. Now, a little bit more about the kicking. So, tarantulas, at least the ones from North and South America, they're furry. They look like they have hair. Some of those hairs are hairs. That means that if they get on you or barbed, they're gonna itch. And I know people who are allergic to the hairs. Like, they literally, where the hairs hit, they get hives. Luckily, I never had that problem, but that is a defense mechanism. A lot of times it's designed to get into the eyes, and that's usually enough to send animals packing. These guys are going to be found in shrublands and prairies, basically. Places that are warm and have semi-low humidity. Now, this species, the Oklahoma brown, it is in the pet trade. You can get them for pets. Just make sure that if you decide to get one, that you check the laws in your city or town, because some places do have laws banning tarantulas. I don't know. I have to look that one up. If I can spell. No. Um, that being said, if you were to put, and I don't know why you would do that, but if you take another tarantula and you put it inside of a tank without emptying the substrate that's in it, those pheromones that are in the habitat can be issues for other tarantulas. They have the chemicals that would tell another tarantula that, hey, this is my home. So there could be some psychological issues, as well as it could cause irritation to the skin of the tarantula. But I would suggest not messing with it. So I don't think there's too big of an issue, but at times perhaps. So again, check the laws, because there are places in the United States where you can't keep tarantulas. Let's find out where. Maybe. Some places like California, some states do have rules where an animal is a native animal. In those states, quite often, you may not be able to keep them. I think New York City, I know my home state, they're illegal. So that I do know. In my city. Also, super, super important. Please, if you're going to get one from a breeder or somebody who sells babies. Don't take them from the wild. They're not meant to be pets. At least if you're getting them from a breeder, you know that they are legit. And you're not taking an animal that was in the wild and bringing it into your home. That actually is super important, because, like, for me, I had other tarantulas. It's possible that if I bring in an animal from the wild, I could be bringing in parasites. So I was really careful about that. So the next animal that we're talking about today is the Arizona blonde tarantula. This is a cousin to the Oklahoma brown. The colors, again, are browns. Basically tan to light brown. This tarantula has several names, including the desert blonde or the Arizona blonde tarantula. They are 4 to 5 inches. And when I say that an animal or that a spider is 4 to 5 inches, I'm measuring literally from this leg to this leg. It is a diagonal measurement. So again, you're measuring from here or from here to here. And that range should be 5 inches. Both of these animals are slow growing. Females can live for 25 years. Males may live for 2 to 3 years. Females always in tarantulas and typically in insects and the like are larger than the males. They also use burrows, and they may reuse the burrows of rodents. Of course, not a huge rodent, but rodents. They are lighter brown and have tan legs. Like the Oklahoma brown, they're also going to be kicking hairs. And of course, displaying the same exact way. These spiders are nocturnal, and their diet includes insects, but they will take small lizards and even other arachnids. Their predators include birds, coyotes, foxes, reptiles, and even the tarantula hawk moth or the Pepsis wasp. These tarantulas are found in Arizona, New Mexico, Southern California, and Mexico. During the summer rains, that's when you can expect the males to come out looking for females. And this occurs in July, August, and September. Females, once mated, may lay up to 100 eggs. Now, when I say that they lay 100 eggs, fewer than 5% of those eggs will make it to adulthood. And this is, yet again, another animal that's in the pet trade. Again, do not take them from the wild. Find a good breeder, check your local laws, and then maybe get one for a pet. Again, I want to stress, do not take them from the wild. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Are you guys there? I hope. Any questions, comments, concerns? Basically the same sort of basic information. Their care is going to be about the same as it would be for the Oklahoma brown. If you do have questions or comments, let me know. It can be tarantulas in general, or not. I also want to add that books Oh, that's not what I thought it was. I don't know if I have one up here. Oops. I was hoping to show you a book on pets, but don't see one at the moment. I'm finding everything but what I'm looking for, which is typical. Well, because I didn't want to put that out there, but I can. I can talk about that. The care for these animals is pretty simple, fairly simple. Your tank for a baby, you want your tank or your substrate. So this is what I use for the babies. Okay? It has holes in it. You want to keep the substrate deep because these guys burrow. So your substrate should be, hold on, I got it. This tank has not been cleaned, just FYI. They can be sensitive to it. Floor space, you want enough room for them to burrow, but you also need to always have water. Even if they don't drink, they need to have water. Babies typically are fed fruit flies. A lot of pet shops sell them. Here in the United States, if you go to Petco or PetSmart, you'll probably be able to get fruit flies. After that, after they become adults, again, that substrate needs to be deep. You want enough room to give them a shelter, and you want to give them room to burrow. Like I said, you can put in a shelter. My shelters are actually pretty simple. This is how my tanks are set up. I use a plumbing elbow. That works really good. And then for water, watering them is pretty simple. I use the top of a peanut butter jar. Plastic. You don't need to put in pebbles. You don't put in sponges, even though that's what they use in the pet shops. Don't do that. Because what happens is the sponge eventually will get bacteria in it, and that's not good. So just put water in. The water is needed for when the animals molt. What I do is I use coconut bedding, which is shredded coconut. You can get that at pet shops as well. And I mix in peat moss. So it's like a 50-50 mix. And it'll go pretty far, both of them. It's really important that as you water, that you spray some of the substrate, or you let the water spill out a little bit from the cup, from your jar lid. Things you want to watch is mold. You don't want mold in your substrate. That would be really bad. The adults, again, are going to eat crickets. A varied diet is better. So if you can get occasionally you can get superworms, which are really big mealworms. They might eat them. What I recommend, because I have found that the superworms can get away from the tarantulas. I also recommend not leaving food in overnight, especially not crickets. Oh, you can also get dubia roaches. A lot of pet shops may even sell them just to mix it up. So maybe 1 week do dubias. What you don't want to do is take food from outside. Don't take an insect from outside and throw that into your cages. And this works for both the Oklahoma brown and the Arizona blonde. Okay? They're going to be eating the same thing. Don't feed them. Depending upon the age, you need to feed the young ones more often than you do the adults. Once they reach adults, honestly, you can feed them every other week, depending upon the size of the meal. So I would do 4 crickets, and that is it. Do they eat mice? I would not feed my tarantulas mice. Not saying that they won't. They might. They might. And they probably would in the wild. But what you have to be careful of is mice are bigger. Mice are bigger than crickets. And if a mouse decides to bite your tarantula is probably going to pass away. And it's not something that you can just feed mice. They need that insect diet. I always used insects, different types of insects. You can try feeding mice, but here's the problem that I ran into. If the animal doesn't move, there's no vibration. And it seemed like they needed that vibration. They needed the animal to move in order to find them. Yes. The only time I have heard of people who fed the babies like bits and pieces of crickets, and that works. I've never done it. I have always used live food. And it's best for the animal to feed them live food, because then the animals are using natural behaviors in order to do it. There's not a lot of enrichment you can do for these animals. So getting them hunting is primo. And you're going to see natural behavior when they're hunting. Things to keep in mind if you are going to have tarantulas is pet shops do not sex their animals. So if you end up with a male, you won't know that you have a male necessarily until the final molt. And in the final molt, these legs, or these appendages right here, are pedipalps. And they are sort of like a insect's antenna. They use these for different purposes, but the males, when they mature, they get boxing gloves. They look like little boxing gloves. And what's going to happen is a male will form a web. They will lay down a thing of silk. They will put a droplet of their, basically, it's their reproductive fluid into those boxing gloves, and that is what they will insert into the female. On the belly, it's really, really hard. Sexing is not easy. So the best way to do it is to use a molt. Hello, Osireg. I'm not sure how to pronounce your name. So I can't teach you how to do it because I don't have a, I don't have a proper molt to show you. But where my fingers are, right there, I don't know if you can see that. Right there, that little, what looks like it's been gouged out. Those are book lungs. That's how your tarantula breathes. Let's see. So we have those, right? There is going to be a flap-like structure between the book lungs. And there's two sets of book lungs. Do you see the first pair? The first pair is right here. And right there. So then, between there is a flap. There is going to be a flap. And that flap is right there. Females will have that flap. Males will not. So this animal is a female. It has a flap. Now, you have to be able to get your spider to present itself in order to see that. That's why very often, when people sex tarantulas, they use the molt. And they will look for the first pair of book lungs, and then they will find the hyaluron. Then they will find that flap. And that flap is where the male inserts his pedipalps. Hi, Eminor. Eminor. Hi. We are talking about we are talking about the Oklahoma brown tarantula and the Arizona blonde. Right now, we're sort of talking about males and females and mating. Any more questions on that? A lot of people will hold their tarantulas. By the way, this is not real. This is fake. Just saying. A lot of people will hold their animals. You can hold tarantulas. Just know that if you do that, females can and do sometimes kill the males. That is something that does sometimes happen. I have seen, in my experience, I've never had that happen. My animals are kept very much well fed. But remember, in the wild, tarantulas may not get a meal every single day or every single week. My tarantulas every week got 4 crickets just about each week. So they were not obese. They were well fed. That may have played a part in it. I don't know. I do know that when I mated my orange baboon spider, she retreated as soon as the mating was done, and the male could not get out of there fast enough. He's like, nope, I'm done. I've done my thing. I'm getting out before anything bad happens. And she was twice his size. Like there was no playing around with her. You do if you are not breeding, if you're not breeding, meaning that you're just keeping an animal for a pet, I recommend females. But again, don't go into a pet shop expecting to get a male or expecting to get a female. It's sort of a 50-50 thing. And it's a universal thing, guys. Spiders, I think in general, will do this. Oh, don't faint. Don't faint. What it does, unfortunately, for example, there are octopuses will lay their eggs. Sometimes they will guard the eggs, but mom doesn't eat once the eggs are laid. And so they, for all intents and purposes, the octopus species that I know of, they never see their babies. And it is not, it's not a given that if you do have a male that they're, and you have a friend that has a female and you decide to breed, it's not a guarantee that you're going to lose your male, right? Obviously, that is something that can happen. Nature is not nice. It is not this beautiful, nature is beautiful, but it is not like, you can't put human emotion on nature because nature's going to do what nature has to do. One of, to me, tarantulas that live within the range of the Pepsis wasp, literally, this is a wasp, the females, tarantulas walking around, they hunt the Pepsis wasp female hunts tarantula. Not to eat. No. She stings the female. Or she stings the tarantula. Her venom doesn't kill the tarantula. It paralyzes the tarantula. She will then get that tarantula back to her burrow, where she will lay her eggs on the tarantula while it's alive. She will then seal the tarantula inside her burrow. When the eggs hatch, the larvae have their food. It's It's scary to think about because, in every sense of the word, they are eaten while they're still alive. But through that, another generation of animals is going to come to be. And so while it is scary to watch, that is nature at its core. I sound cold-hearted. Trust me, I'm not. I cried the first time that one of my animals died. And I promise you, it was natural causes. Like, it was old age. My first tarantula that I owned lived at least 15 years or more. If you are going to get a tarantula, please do your research. No, that's not. Some of these animals can live for 25 to 30 years. Plan. If you're 30 and you get a tarantula, yes, human years. Please have a plan. Maybe they'll last longer than you. Maybe they won't. I started in my 20s. And I think I stopped keeping sometime in my 40s. They do make really cool pets. However, that being said, they're not for everybody. And while one spider, one tarantula may be absolutely sweet and absolutely calm, just because a book says that, oh, Oklahoma Browns are docile. Guess what? It doesn't mean that they're all going to be docile. I had a Chilean rosehair. They're supposed to be docile. I could take out Rosie and hold her and never had a problem. Other people held her with no problem. But the second rosehair that I had was unpredictable. She would kick and pretend and try to strike at me inside the cage. And I wasn't about that. I'm like, no, I can't. And then I had her rear up when I was holding her. Yeah. And I put her back. Even a tarantula, I promise you, even a tarantula can have a bad day. Guys, they're a living thing. I promise you, you may not believe me, but I promise you, even though they're an invertebrate, they have a personality. It may not be, they're not going to greet you like a puppy or a cat. They're probably not even going to remember you from day to day. But I promise you, there is something there that isn't just an animal doing what nature tells it to do. That being said, there are things that you need to keep in mind. One thing that is very, very important. This type of lid is great. But what's not great is leaving the lid off. If you are feeding your animal and you do this and you forget to snap the lid, your tarantula is going to get out. I had a red knee named Taco who liked to climb her cage at night. And she would get to the top of the cage and she's basically holding herself up from her front feet. And she would swing, trying to get free. There were numerous times at 3 o'clock in the morning, I'm getting up to release my spider. And it's not from this type of a tank. Oh. Not from this type of a tank. But from a tank like this. Like my glass tank. Which ideally for the bigger guys, you're going to want a bigger tank. And if you do want to see more about tarantulas, I do have other videos where I actually talk about the tarantulas and show you the tarantula. Any questions? Any concerns? Anything else you want to know? I will answer just about anything. And if I don't know the answer, I will find out the answer. Also, I am coming back tonight at 6 o'clock to talk about 2 more tarantulas from Africa, the starburst baboon and the orange baboon spider. Also, both of which I have had as pets. Just to review so you know what is coming up. Tuesday, I am talking about the corpse flower and a water arum. And then later that day, we are talking about 2 natives from the United States, Jack in the Pulpit and skunk cabbage. On the 14th, we are talking about 2 different exhibits, Wild Africa and Kittim Cave. Typically not, no, ARUM. And then Saturday, we are doing benefits of floods to ecosystems and volcanoes, enemy or friend to ecosystems. So we're going to go that route. Also, very, very important, if you are a subscriber, we have a chat with me, herbal chat with me on the 21st of November. And then on the 22nd, and this is big, my first ever 9 to 12 hour chat. So I will be live for 9 hours or 12 hours on the 22nd. And I don't know what we're going to be talking about. I haven't figured that out. It's going to be a mix of things. So, yeah. And yes, I will be eating, and yes, I will be taking breaks throughout the activity. We may be doing more than one live. It may not be a continuous live stream. I'm not going to get anything done that day. So there will not be a Sunday video that next, well, yeah. So on the 23rd, no video because I'm going to be occupied. Is the venom still present in tarantulas when they die? I'm going to say yes. Because the venom is produced in a gland. I don't know. I don't know how long it stays. Um, so good point. Every indication is that there would still be venom present in a tarantula when they die. It's a little bit like, so venom glands are salivary glands. At least in reptiles, that's where it came from. So when we die, there would still be venom or saliva in our mouths when we die, right? So yes, there would still be venom there. Now the question is, how long does it take for that venom to go from dead to not being there? I can tell you, Ross Lynch, that snakes like this guy, if I can get him up, a snake like this guy If you were to find this guy on the road dead, you should never, ever, 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 ever mess with a dead snake. Because a dead snake still has reflexes. Their nerves are still firing shortly after death. So if you were to potentially get close enough or get your fingers in the mouth of a dead snake, you could still get bit. And because, again, those venom glands they're not producing venom, but the venom is still there. I don't know, but I know people do. I know people do eat tarantula. So the first thing that typically happens, snakes. You basically heat is known to denature venom. You might remove the head because the venom glands are in the head. In fact, on this guy, if you look, you probably aren't going to see it. But you see these bumps here and here? Potentially those could be venom glands. But people do eat snake. And I just looked at a recipe for tarantula. So yes, people do eat tarantula. In case you're wondering. Okay, guys, I need to eat. I don't know about you guys, but I need to eat. You don't know why. You don't know why what? Why we eat them? Necessity. Necessity causes people to eat a lot of things. Like I can tell you, I don't understand why people eat oysters or clams. To me, it's blech. But whatever, guys. I'm gonna go eat and all of that fun stuff. I do have a longer video that is up. It is on dung beetles. And like I said in the video, it is the most I have ever used the words poo, dung, and feces in a video ever. So watch it if you want to. Bye-bye.